Welcome to Much Ado About Dota. Today is Monday, April 1st, 2013. It's the internet's favorite holiday, April Fools. My name is Spit-wad, and I'm joined today by AOI 2000, Monolith, Liquid BuLba, and our special guest, tobi-wan. How you doing, Toby?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Doing pretty well. Nothing like a 2 a.m. in the morning show.
Yep. Thank you for joining us all the way from Germany. Have you seen any April Fool's jokes today that particularly grabbed your interest?
I actually got done by one. I got done by the Ice Frog one. I got done by Team Liquid when I first saw that because I forgot it was April Fool's. So I'm just like going through it, like interview with Ice Frog. I'm like, wait a second. I was told this would never happen ever again. And yeah, I called up Moose, and then he was like, hey, you know the date? I'm like, oh crap. After that point, I looked at everything just going, meh. Okay.
To be fair, they posted that on Korean time. It was not April 1st yet.
It was premature, but it was very nicely done prematurely. For us Europeans, that is. For you Americans, you're probably a day behind.
Yeah. Monolith, any favorites?
Dude, I fucking hate April Fools. I'm sorry, I hate this fucking holiday. It's
language.
I go online, and then all these links are just dumb. And they're all trolly. And then like the top link of Reddit for a while was that stupid like League of Legends subreddit war. Oh my god.
I don't even know what that was about.
I don't know. It gave me cancer.
Alright. Well, April Fool is not for everyone. Especially
I will say though that you guys joined Dota got snaking with that one tournament that you guys are running.
Who said that's a fool, man? Who said that's a fool? Like, what website posts 2 April Fools in one day?
Oh shit! You got me. Guess we're playing on the 12th and to the 14th. We'll be there.
Sam, did you see any April Fool's jokes you liked?
Does it have to be Dota related?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, what is something I liked? Actually, I don't know. I'm not into that much. Like, I wasn't... I think there was one for Game of Thrones where, like, Peter Dinklage got replaced. That was pretty decent. Otherwise, that was it.
Okay. Owie?
I like the one on OBS, if you guys saw that one. I thought that was pretty funny, actually.
Yep, that was my favorite too.
$4,000 for full streaming things for 3 years, and you could select all the individual options. I really like that, actually.
They also had a really cool changelog with it that was like reverted x264 encoding settings back to something out of date, or I don't know. It was pretty entertaining. And actually, that one kind of got me because I just saw the headline right away.
The first 10 seconds, I looked at it and I'm like, and I really want a Lamborghini. I'm like, oh, what day is today? Because I read it in the really early morning. So.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into some tournament results and some news items here, I want to give a special shout out to our YouTube subscribers as well as our podcast listeners on iTunes and all of our other outlets. If you want to watch the show live, I think that's the best way to do it. It's fun to read the chat and see us screw up live as we do the show. And you can watch every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/NEO Dota or right on neodota.com. All right, so this weekend we had the Defense Season 3 finals. Finally, season went on for quite a while. Toby said that it would be a little shorter next time. Do you guys have any specific plans you want to reveal as to how the format's going to change?
A lot of it's still being talked about. I've had my ideas, Moose has had his, Holly's had his, everyone's had their own ideas about it all. For me personally, I want to make the tournament a lot more condensed. Obviously, the whole 4 months is a real pain in the ass. Most of that was actually not our fault. Like Fnatic going on holidays for 2 weeks, Melt going away for 2 weeks. There were all these things getting it back, so we kept rescheduling it all and trying not to conflict with a whole bunch of other competitions. And yeah, personally, what I like to see is actually less invited teams. So we give a little bit more of a prestige back to the defense. So for me, a matter of 2 invited teams, 2 open qualified teams to come in. and the rest of them are all invite only. Because the defense was the first big thing, and really we kind of want to keep it as the big thing. So we've got to do what we need to do to make that happen.
And the prize pool certainly does make it the big thing. The results, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't heard or hasn't watched, Virtus Pro took the finals against Fnatic. VP won $10,000. Fnatic took $5,000, and Team Dignitas and Liquid took third and fourth with $3,500 and $1,500. So congratulations, BuLba and Aoi. BuLba, did you watch the finals there? What did you think of Fnatic and VP? It's kind of an interesting series.
I hope he was watching it. I hope he was watching it.
I know he was watching it. All right, that wasn't a real question. I know he was watching. VP took the first 2 games. Fnatic took the second 2. And then Game 5 went to VP. What'd you think, Sam?
Game quality, I felt every game was I mean, the team that won was a... There was one good game, I think. It was a game with the CK Wisp. But otherwise, the games were kind of a stomp for whatever team. It felt like each game there was a team that had a good strategy and they won. And the team without a good strategy lost. Like the first game, I think was... Fnatic had a really awful draft of like PL, TA, and then Bounty Hunter. And they had like no counter push and they lost. And then the second game, it was something around that same...
That was the CK Wisp game, wasn't it?
TK was second game, and that was also kind of a... It felt like Fnatic didn't play properly versus it. They had a good lead and all, but then they lost it. And then the third game, Fnatic had their Lycan strat, and obviously that crushed. And I think the fourth game, it was their Storm Nig strat. And then the fifth game, just that stomp with versus the PL. So PL didn't have a good day in the finals.
And the fifth game actually had some interesting picks. I actually saw a tweet by Sexy Bambo saying Fnatic had some pretty terrible picks, worst picks he's ever seen. I kind of agree. They picked Brood, which was an interesting pick to go with Keeper of the Light and PL. The kind of pick that makes me think they had practiced that strat didn't really work out too much. What did you think of the Brood, BuLba?
I think the Brood... VP played well versus the Brood, that's one thing. They got good item builds. Both the Venge and the Gyro actually rushed boots. And that Brood would have lived, because he actually dewarded the sentries. He would have lived if they didn't have the boots at level 2, if Venge didn't have boots early on. And the hero was mainly just so that it was a distraction so PL couldn't farm. And then they pick those kind of heroes a lot, Fnatic. They pick heroes that can stay in the off lane and then do decent. Like, they pick Furion a lot, they pick Lone Druid a lot. And I've seen them pick Brood a lot. I felt if they wanted the Brood to do well, they should have tried to gank the Brood's lane at least once with the smoke gank. And I feel Brood as a hero, he has to snowball, I think, in the current playing versus teams. Teams know how to play versus the hero now. And if he doesn't get like a early Midas and an early Orchid and whatever, or early Manta, early BKB, I feel he's kind of useless. But if a Brood snowballs, like he gets like 600 GPM early on, he's pretty hard to deal with. So.
Well, I mean, he definitely did not get any glimpse of farm here. Aoi, what do you think of Brood as a pick in Fnatic's game or in general?
I think Brood's still situationally okay. Like really situational right now, actually. But Fnatic picked him when they had 0 lockdown. Like their lockdowns were Puck Ulti and Shadow Demon. And Shadow Demon doesn't really count because he doesn't have a stun. And you can't put Broodmother in a 1v3 situation. He's going to be this entire game because he really does need items. So I didn't like the pick from them at all. And also, PL Brood doesn't do anything because PL's not exactly like... If you pick Brood, it's because you want to split them up at least. And you want to be able to fight 4v4 or even fight 4v3 because if your Brood gets really fat, then he can sort of force a 1v2 on his lane. But if you have a PL, then you have to wait for 20-25 minutes before PL can really 4v4 fight. So the Brood becomes completely useless. It's too easy to shut him down. I actually don't remember if VP did this, but if you just push Brood's tier 1, his effectiveness decreases by like, I'd say like half actually. Like he half as effective with his tier 1 tower down, just because there's no gank option with him. And Brood is also good. Like Brood can win against a tri-lane 2v3, but he needs a support there with him. The hero strong or in a defensive. If they're aggressive versus Brood, then they'll probably lose still. So the hero can still be situationally picked.
VP did not push the Brood's tower very early, but he never got any help. Yeah,
I know they
did
bought
kill
2
him
sets of
once.
sentries.
Yeah, and they were able
Yeah.
to kill him with the second set, which they dropped down and immediately went for the kill on him.
Like I think VP could have played it better too against the Brood even more, but Brood already got turned useless. So I guess VP played as well as they needed to versus that hero.
Any thoughts on the rest of the series from you?
I actually
Kurt?
really didn't like the games for the series.
Actually, I've heard that comment from a few people.
I don't think most people did.
Just because they were kind of stompy, not that close.
Yeah.
Toby was excited as always while casting, though. How did you like the set?
Well, I'm always excited when it comes to the games because I try and keep an open mind for it. But if I do look back and review the games, yeah, they were possibly not the best games we could have ever had for a grand final. I can always say that the grand final of the TI2 qualifiers for the West was always the worst final, though. I think anything will ever beat that. That was the next KZ versus MTW, if you guys remember that draft.
Oh god, I remember that.
Yeah. You have flashbacks, and that'll give you nightmares. This was just... It was just swinging momentum with the games. And the first game for me, I ended up at the end of game number 2, and we switched over to the panel, and I just turned to Cinder and I said, man, I'm so disappointed in Fnatic EU. I'm so disappointed in them. Because I know that they can play better than this. And then they came back in game number 3, and they played a lot better. They played so much better. And VP actually played worse. I don't know what was going on with the teams, or if something was happening, if a stripper was walking past and distracting them. Either way, it just... Something wasn't right with the teams when they were playing. It can come down to draft, it can come down to all that kind of jazz, but it was just so back and forth, but every single game was basically one-sided. Or in game number 2, like, it was Fnatic's game in game number 2. And then they lost the CK, and then they lost another one, then they lost another one, and then everything else just went downhill for them from there for the next, 3 games. It was funky. It was funky.
At least you got a best of 5 out of it.
Yeah, that's one upside. That's one upside. There's nothing like staying awake until 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning, casting the defense final when you get one-sided games. It's awesome. It's magical.
The best Dota happens after midnight. All right. Any final thoughts on the defense? Otherwise, we'll move on here to the G1 League qualifier. I apparently skipped over this topic during my prep work, so I don't really know what this is about. But matches are at ungodly hours. Let's give this one to Monolith. Yeah, since you have to deal with scheduling for your team here. What's going on with G1 League?
So I mean, it's happening. The schedule should be the exact schedule should be released tomorrow. And then you all know the teams that are invited. And then they're happening. I believe they're starting on the 14th to the 17th for the North American / EU West qualifiers. And they're happening at 1 in the morning / 4 in the morning for the North American teams. 1 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
Are you guys going to do anything special to prepare for that? Adjusting your sleep schedules at all?
We can't even do that because we're in finals too during that period.
Yeah,
It's finals week for a lot
It's during
of us.
our finals for me way too unfogged. So
Wait. Your finals
interesting.
week in your second half of April?
yeah, because we start in the first week of January.
Oh, okay.
What do they expect you guys to do?
Lose.
Just
It's just 3 days or what? 4 days, right? You have to get
Yeah,
up that.
it's 3 days. It's 3 days for us. But at the same time, like, I don't think many people were. I don't think the team were happy with that, especially because a lot of the European teams, they work during those hours as well, and they have school. I know AO wasn't too happy about that, but I mean, we don't have a lot of leverage in this sort of situation. It's the Chinese Ace League, and everyone wants to play in the G1 League, so it's just sort of, it is what it is.
Yeah.
America.
Wait, what time is that for the Europeans though? That's got to be
10
around
a.m.
Like 10.
Oh, that early. Okay. Well, I guess it is what it is. All right.
But
Next news is Rochester, New York is having a LAN tournament at RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology. The news was released on Reddit, and it looked kind of weird to me when I first saw it. So basically, I'll just summarize it really quickly here. It's LAN, bring your own computer, which doesn't appeal to everyone, but some people are perfectly cool with that. $1,000 in prizes. And I saw that, it was written as that, like $1,000 in prizes. And so when I saw that on this news post, I'm thinking, why doesn't it just say $1,000? So I did a little bit of Skype work, asked a few people, and it turns out it is not cash prize. It's going to be hardware, accessories, stuff like that. Nonetheless, in North America is something we don't want to completely ignore. So with us, we have Frost from Dota 101, and he's the one actually organizing the event. He's leading it here. So I'm going to give him a few minutes here to clear up some things, because I talked to him and he brought up some good points that I think the public should know about where this is going. So hello, Hector. Are you with us?
Good, buddy. What's up?
It's very nice to have you on the show.
Yes.
Would you like to give us a little preview of the LAN? What can we expect?
Okay, so Dota 101, for those of you that know, it's basically guides, right? So to improve newer players' gameplay. So what I was hoping to do with the series was rapidly increase the creation process of new and incoming players so that people aren't so afraid of Dota. So what we ended up doing off the Dota 101 series is creating a Dota 101 in-house league. Now in that in-house league, it's basically strictly for players to practice those same concepts you're seeing in the videos in a simulated 5-on-5 captain's mode environment. And then what ended up happening was, I guess some fans are in this esports club in Rochester, so they hit me up and all that good stuff, and then off of the Dota 101 in-house league, there's also a collegiate league. Now that collegiate league is where those players from Rochester are going to be playing. It's going to be a community college up there. I forget the name. Rochester Institute of Technology, where the tournament is going to be held, and it's also the University of Rochester. So we thought, well, okay, we can set up a bar craft at the same time have a tournament for those guys that play in that collegiate league. Oh, and by the way, since when I was invited, I had the idea to just make it larger. I said, okay, I'll use my contacts and resources and just try to make a thing of it. So what we ended up doing was we ended up getting originally AC, Lumi, NV, B-Ball, and myself. And then, unfortunately, AC is now casting the G1 League that was previously mentioned on the show. Mm-hmm. So he had to back out. So I needed to find a replacement. Well, I got in touch with Gods because me and Gods worked for AO during the International. I was covering it. He was the manager, and he was also on the panel. So he hooked me up there. So we got him a ticket. So he's flying over. And then we also got, what is it, from Gosu coming, Mout from... this
NEO
show,
Dota, who is producing this show right now.
Yeah, he'll be casting a game, actually, him and Greg. What is it? So the reason why the prizes, it was strange. The reason why the prizes is in items as opposed to cash, I was going to write him a check myself, but I found out that when you're running collegiate events, because of the NCAA and scholarships, you can't actually give cash prizes. Because I don't know if you guys know this. I found this out. RIT has a StarCraft player on scholarship. There are actual schools around the country, and I didn't know this until this whole thing got started. There are partial scholarships given to esports athletes I had never heard of it, so I had no idea.
No, but that's actually really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we're
I
getting
found
to
out
that
you can't
point.
actually give cash, and I was like, oh, okay. But
Okay,
the good thing was,
so you're embracing the collegiate aspect of esports here, and starting with this event. You're planning for more events if this one goes well, right? It's kind of a test event.
absolutely. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else you want to spit off here really quickly about the event? Any other information about it? The date is, what's the date of it?
It's going to be April 12th.
April 12th. Okay. And there will be streams of that, as he said. We got casters
It'll be on Beyond
coming.
the Summit.
It'll be on Beyond the Summit. All right. Twitch.tv/Beyond the Summit for that. April 12th. Casters coming from all over for that. Thank you very much for giving us some more information about that, Frost. Any quick shout-outs here?
All right, guys. I would like to thank everybody attending. We already sold out, by the way. We already sold 300 plus tickets for the event. So thanks, Gods, Lumi, and FXOpen. But all right, guys. Thanks for your time. Continue on with the show. We all enjoy it. Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's move on to our next segment of more esports news. We're done with the tournament results. First thing I want to start with here is this Navi by Zero Gravity, claiming that he plans to start an Esports Team Association. Navi is boycotting the Copenhagen Games, I think it's called. I don't really know much about that since they didn't have Dota. But basically they want to start a union of some sort with teams. And I know that Toby, for one, does not particularly agree with this approach. I don't particularly agree with it. We both already voiced some opinions on that, but I'm going to give Toby the floor here first. What's up with this?
Well, what's up with it? It was actually a Counter-Strike Go competition, which was at the Copenhagen Games.
Okay.
And that's what kind of sparked. It's just Zero who gets burnt by an organization and by a tournament running it, and he's dealt with this kind of stuff in the past and just says, I want to do something about it, we'll announce something next week. And that's all it sounded like. When I first heard it, it sounded like a knee-jerk reaction to they got fucked over by rules. And then it's like, well, okay, what are we supposed to do from here? Let's make an organization of teams. Let's rally together in solidarity, brothers. I actually asked him the question the same night I saw him tweet it out. I said, man, what do you want to achieve with this? Like, what really are you going to be able to do with this alliance of teams? A whole bunch of teams get together and they demand what? And how do they demand it? What's the one action you can do? And I said, the only action you can take is a negative one. You can boycott something. Unions, what do? You go on strike, or you sit down, you talk on behalf of all the teams. And he took the boycott action. He did it like 24 hours. It was like 12 hours after the whole thing started off. And he just said, boycott Copenhagen Games. I want everybody else to do it. So all these other teams that have spent time and resources and money and get themselves over there to compete in a tournament should boycott it because Navi got eliminated because, according to the reports, they were late. There was problems with computers. There was decisions about rules and things like that. We don't know it. The only thing I care about at the end of the day is what he wants to achieve with the whole thing. And I can tell you this has been attempted in the past and been attempted a lot better than what he was wanting to do. An alliance of teams, it doesn't work that way. You can have an alliance of teams with the organizers themselves. Don't make a war. Actually make an agreement and make things better. Don't just say, if you don't give us our money, if you don't change the set and let us through, then we just boycott you. That achieves nothing apart from the tournament organizers saying, well, fuck you. We're going to get some other teams in. We don't need you. If you want to keep boycotting tournaments, no other tournament will take you. Because all you're going to do is just try and manhandle them.
Right. And the industry runs on a cooperation between teams as well as the organizations running these events. And, a bunch of different factors going in here. And so if the teams... You share a lot of the same feelings that I had, that if the teams are grouping here... I don't see much good coming from this. It's actually something that's been attempted before in other ways there was a World Dota Council started by Beast Pete back in Warcraft 3 Dota. That was probably like 4 years ago. Nothing happened for it, but that one did include, not just there were people from all areas of Dota involved. There was a G7 teams, which was more esports, like Complexity and EG and Made in Brazil and Mouse and Fnatic. Sure, there more than 7 teams made their way in and out of there throughout the time that it was up and running. I don't know too much about that, but the point is this is not exactly a new idea. Seems to me like Navi is kind of reacting off of their own problems here. I know that BuLba is a little Zero Gravity fanboy over there, though. BuLba, do you have anything you wanna add on this?
About the whole esports group thing?
Yeah.
I mean, the reason that he made it was probably just because at the time he felt kind of emotional over the whole thing. And I don't know the implications. I know that Too Good actually like kind of flamed it on Twitter, so that was pretty interesting.
He wasn't the only one, too.
Yeah, but it looked just like it was made just out of passion or something, because he got pissed off at the scenario. And him as a person, he cares a lot about his teams and stuff, so I understand where you get that from.
But he's sticking to it, I believe. I haven't seen any news saying, like, just kidding, sorry, that was a passion thing, right? I think he's going forward with it.
I think it's going to die off eventually, though. I mean, no, there are many teams that are going to buy into this.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as everyone else is concerned, nobody really wants to commit to something like this. I mean, teams don't have very much interest in this, and maybe if something bigger happened that was detrimental to these teams, that could sort of get them all together. But this is just something that happened with Navi, and this is their issue. So nobody's really in this.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see if they can truly change the face of modern esports on day one. But let's move on to our next discussion topic here. I want to talk a little bit about TI3, the international. For everyone who has not been paying attention, first international hosted in Germany at Gamescom. TI2 was in Seattle. There's been no official announcement, but everyone has heard and is expecting TI3 to be in Seattle again, which is, of course, where Valve is based off of, who runs the event. So some people here want to talk a little bit about pros and cons of having the international in America versus in Europe, or possibly even in Asia, since it was in the US last time. So, Monolith, do you have anything you want to say here about... I'm guessing you're a fan of having TI in America.
Yeah.
Which is why we have Toby on, by the way, so that we can do two sides of this argument. But go ahead, Monolith.
Yeah, obviously I'd rather have it in Seattle again. I mean, after spending all that time running back and forth between ESWC Paris and DreamHack, traveling is exhausting. And as far as, the benefits of having it in Seattle, like, North America has your biggest potential, maybe outside of China or Asia, but I mean the potential player base is huge here, and having an event here fills a huge niche. I mean, there's no MLG, there's no IPL, there's no NASL that has Dota 2. So, I mean, this is the one big event in North America for Dota 2. It'd be huge for the game, it'd be huge for North America.
Okay. Toby, let's get the other side of this. Are you waiting for the international to come back to Europe?
I was actually waiting for it to go to Asia.
Oh yeah, and what do we have to gain from it being in Asia?
Well, apart from the fact that the audience in Asia is absolutely massive, if you've ever been to an Asian LAN event, and then you go to a European LAN event, everything just seems so much smaller because there's just so many more people who turn up in Asia. You want a big spectacle, you can host it in Asia, and everyone from Asia can come in quite easily from like surrounding areas. Like hosting in Singapore and Malaysia would be amazing, but like we all know it's going to be in America. And I know I'm like saying in the chat too that Howie and I had this conversation for a couple of hours a couple of weeks ago too, talking about like who actually needs the TI, who needs TI3, where should TI3 be? And I know you Howie were making the point saying that it should be in America because America needs something to help it grow as far as the scene goes. Where I'm sitting on the other side going, well, you're hosting an American time zone, which is very early in the morning for Asia, and it's basically midnight starting for most of Europe. So the grand final time is going to be about 4 a.m., 5 a.m. for Europe, and that at this point is the largest viewing audience for like Western streaming platforms, okay, platforms that aren't in China. So most of your audience is over here. You can see the peaks, you can see the lows. Whenever you have events on, it's like we'll peak like G1 League. You've seen them maybe peak up to 19, 20K worth of viewers, and then we'll have a half decent match or a pretty decent match, and we'll peak up to about 30K viewers on a European time zone for European teams. And then, of course, if you have Navi plus 10K, that's just what happens. So you have an event like TI3. Like I think it should be more than just be hosted in America because the Americans need the boost in their scene, which I 100% agree they do. And of course Valve wants to run it very, very close to them as well because then they can just bring their entire staff members straight over and have all these staff on site being ready to help and make sure it's the event that they want to run. But as far as the time zone, as far as the placement goes, as far as where the current Dota 2 community is strongest, Europe is that for the streaming community. China is that for the community that would turn up, and it's been taken away from both those regions. So it makes me question a little bit, but I understand Valve's reasoning.
I mean, I think, like, I get it. Right now, like Europe and Asia are probably the strongest in terms of viewer base, but I think the potential for growth is in America, and so by focusing that, like in Seattle, you push that potential along.
Well, so. to this point, I haven't seen the growth, and we're talking 4 months until TI3 is basically upon us. And in 4 months' time, like it seems really going to change in the next 4 months. That says that TI3 should be in America.
Well, it's not about whether we're looking at the scene right now at this moment, right? The reason that I would want TI3 to be in America is because in the future, because I think we all think that Dota is going to be a relatively long-lasting game. Like, it's not going to go to TI4 and then the game just ends. So when we look towards TI4, TI5, TI6, hopefully we have those, then overall the scene will be most improved by having a huge event in America. Because, like, if we just look at this on a sort of like a monetary scale, like, just the US has, I would say, about the same as Europe, right? In terms of GDP, in terms of potential in marketing and making money and stuff like that. Would that be about correct? Well, America's about the same as Europe.
Europe West will be equal to the US, but if you go Eastern Europe, then no.
Oh, really? I thought that... Oh, I don't know. Anyways.
Let's not get too far into the economics here.
But, in terms of potential, like, the US is always going to have more than Europe right now because they're behind Europe right now. And Europe already has a lot of events. Like, they have quite a few LAN events compared to zero in America. Having another big LAN event in Europe, like, would that make as much of an impact as having a big one in America?
Well, what's the event in America meant to change anyway? Like, okay, what organization in America is going to say, because TI3 is hosted in my backyard, I'm now going to run an event in my backyard? The international is the international. It's meant to be everywhere. And it's been hosted in Europe to start with, now it's been in America. Why shouldn't it move around the world? Why should it just remain in America? Because America needs the support. Like, the American support shouldn't be coming from Valve.
I think the game also needs the support of America. I mean, if you're talking about, the international as it is now can also be a lot more. America has all the big, I guess, endemic and non-endemic sponsors here. Or if you want the international to grow to something other, just something that Valve puts on. And I mean, look at it's a dirty word, but look at League of Legends. I mean, their biggest player base is in the United States, and what they've
Actually,
done.
I think that the biggest player base is starting to expand into Asia now. I think Asia actually outnumbers America, but the marketing in America is stronger.
I mean, in terms of
I've
numbers,
heard that too.
I don't know, but exactly. the
Especially
marketing-
now that Korea's basically jumped on board with all the League of Legends stuff.
Regardless, League of Legends is obviously huge here. I remember when we got off the airplane in Seattle, arriving there with the group I was with. There was at the airport League of Legends commercials on the TV, and we were like, "Oh shit!" But TI kind of serves as a proof of concept in America too, though, since we don't have those other big LANs yet. Having these early big tournaments here, you know, this is the thing that we can show to sponsors, saying, "Look, here's a giant event. Yeah, our next event isn't going to be this big. This is the international, but it was successful. It was done on American soil. Look at all the people who showed up and watched it." And I think that's something that America can really make better use of right now.
I mean, you said it yourself. The marketing is bigger in America, and
Yeah.
when I was talking about, you know, as far as potential, I mean, that's it right there.
Well, I didn't see TI3 as a place where potential is meant to be done as far as like growth for LAN events. It should be coming through other organizations. Like Hector was saying earlier tonight, like they're running a LAN event. That's fantastic. There should be more of these. I always remember back Dota 1, where would the LAN events run? It was Europe as well as Asia every single time. There was a couple of American tournaments, but like I know you guys would have lived through it. Where did you go? Where was your big LAN events?
Well, that's the thing. Like
wait.
these events, like they're gonna come. The international is absolutely gonna help that. Like,
Okay, how?
sponsor,
How's it help?
the sponsors for these LAN events, they're gonna see the international. They're gonna see that it's in America. They're gonna see the American audience for it. They're gonna say, "I want to invest in this." There's an American audience for it, and then small LANs that come up, like the RTI LAN, like the Toronto LAN, like the UBC LANs, like they'll get more sponsor backing and they'll get bigger because, I mean, sponsors will see that there is an American market for this.
Hey,
See-
I just had a question actually. Which one of the Dota 2 LANs in Europe were based off Dota 1? Or did
Dota
they
2
all have
LAN?
a foundation from other games?
Started with Dota 1.
Yeah, none of them, right?
Some of the Dota 1 would be DreamHack would be the primary one. And Gamescom also was running a Dota 1 event on
They're
myself.
not like Dota 1 events though, right?
I think Aoi means like for Dota 1. You know, when
Like,
did the event
nothing
start?
was built off
DreamHack didn't
Dota 1
start
stuff.
with Dota 1. It started with whatever other games.
So like, I mean,
Dr-
you need somewhere to
DreamHack-
start.
DreamHack, to go back
right?
to the start of it, I believe, was basically Counter-Strike. Was where, if I remember, because I wasn't at the dawn of DreamHack, but I remember the Counter-Strike was around, and Warcraft 3 was also one of the bigger ones when it started to propel itself forward.
Well, I mean, my
I think
point
the answer
here
is
that-
none, Aoi.
I mean, my point here is that like Europe has a good scene going right now because it was able to start off other lands from other games, and America never really got that. Like our biggest thing was MLG, and MLG is not taking Dota right now, and we don't have anything to help stop that. And like what Spit-wad has said is really true. If people see that a LAN can work in America, then it might influence the, it might increase the chance of a LAN being able to start because people already know a LAN can start in Europe. Like what's that? Like the Iron Squid tournament, that's a new LAN that's happening in Europe, right? And it's successful, and people would have already known that it could have been successful since there are so many successful LANs already held in Europe. But America has nothing.
All right, BuLba didn't have.
Yeah,
sorry,
sorry.
go ahead, Toby.
I just don't, I don't see the numbers of the international changing enough. Like when I was sitting there in the hall, I was going like, yeah, okay, this hall is great, but for me, I looked at it and said, it feels too small for something that should be the size of the international to reflect the Dota community. There weren't enough people there in my mind that turned up. The hall is too small, and that's what I was saying before. Like, unless you've gone to an event in Asia, you don't really understand just how small Europe as well as US lands go for the size of them. European lands are getting better and better because they're getting bigger and bigger. But Asia, for me, still holds the cake. I'll never forget the time I first went to the World Cyber Games in Singapore. I've never seen that many people in one place. And to this day, the only place which has changed, it was World Cyber Games Grand Final when I was there in Kunshan. And that amount of people that was there, if you had that amount of people around, like at any kind of LAN event, you understand that how the Chinese can keep running such a professional scene because they've got this much of a following that will always turn up. It's a sponsor's dream to say, yeah, we had 100,000 people that actually turned up to a LAN event. Where you look at it at the hall and like, how many thousands of people was it? It's not that big. MLG, the camera angles and how many people turn up to that one, that looks impressive to me. But Dota 2 needs more space. You can't just make a LAN event and saying the viewers are going to come in. It needs to have an established base of LANs before you can say we can run a massive event and then say we can fill the hall. Because you'll be sitting there going, I don't know if we can do this. People might travel from all around the world or from around other parts of America, but you're always going to be there questioning, saying, can we fill this? League of Legends can fill it because you got such a big user base of League of Legends all across America. So you can run it in a big stadium and say, yeah, I reckon we could probably fill this place. But for Dota 2 in America, I would actually fear being able to fill a big hall.
As an addendum to that, I mean, part of the reason, I mean, just keep in mind that PAX Prime was the same weekend as the International.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I'm going to cut you guys off there. I want to give BuLba a chance to speak on this before we move on.
Well, I understand both points. I do feel... Right now, there isn't a...
Toby, your webcam went off, by the way.
Yeah, I realized I froze. And I'll try and turn it back on again.
That's all right. Go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
I do feel Toby has a good point in that it's hard to have a huge argument right now. I mean, I understand, like, TI2 would help the North American LAN scene for Dota 2, but it really didn't. Like, MLG didn't pick it up. So, I have to say, it would just have... I mean... Without like actually saying anything, it's obvious that TI3 will be in Seattle. It's too easy for Valve to host it there. The venue is pretty close by, so we all know that it's there. But if the chances, I think at least TI4, there might be a possibility for being in Asia. But based on how TI3 does in the US, I think it can be like depending like if it actually influences. Because right now I don't think TI whatever is gonna. Whether it's in America or not, it influences whether it's going to be an MLG. I think that's a different scenario. I don't know how you can make that analogy. You understand what I'm saying, Charlie? Like, we have TI3 in the US. How is that going to help make LANs in the US? It's hard for me to see that. I obviously want American LANs. I mean, because I'm American.
I mean, I think the fact that, I mean, after TI2, you did see a lot of organizations take a good hard look at Dota 2 that never did before. I mean, organizations like MLG, IPL, and NSL, they did see that event, and they did see the viewer base for it, and they did see how many people attended. I think the issues with them picking it up were less to do with numbers and more to do with other commitments.
Yeah, so... Okay, TI3 happens in the US. I mean, obviously I'm going to argue for it to be in the US, but I think TI3 is going to happen in the US just because it's the best place. It's going to happen in Seattle because it's the best place for it to actually happen for Valve. And then they can put as much money as they can to bring people in, production-wise, everything. Like, if it was in Asia or something, I don't think we'd see... It would be hard for them to bring all the teams. I mean, they already spent so much money, and that was itself in the same city that their company is based in. So I think I understand the argument for wanting to have it in Asia, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. And obviously that'll be a fun, like, having that big event in Asia, all the crowds. It'll probably be way bigger than the G League finals was even. So.
All right.
I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, that's all there is to say, I think.
I think we should move on.
Okay, I'm just waiting to move on here. That's because I want to get to the next news item. News out of Team Dignitas this week. Tides of Time retires from professional Dota 2. For now, he said. And former Dignitas player Snaking returns to the roster. We'll hand this one to you first, Monolith, as the Team Dignitas manager. is there anything you want to say about the dynamic of the team here, or what happened, or did you
I mean, everything.
did you know this was coming for a long time, or what happened there?
Yeah, obviously, I and the rest of the team felt this coming for a long time, and it was no secret that the last month or two we were in a pretty deep slump, and I mean, part of it was I guess just a lot of things. Tides had mentioned that he had a lack of motivation going into it, and Way 2 probably felt that as well. Just keeping on, and with that, with the lack of motivation from Tides, he didn't improve. His mechanical ability slipped or never got better. So I mean, we had a long talk about it, and ultimately he agreed as well. And so he stepped down. We brought Snake King back, who still stood in for us for a lot of our matches and still really close to the rest of the guys. So I mean, it was a pretty natural fit back in. And then other than that, I mean, everything is pretty much in that statement.
Teammate Aoi, do you want to add anything about either Tides of Time's departure or the return of the King?
Return of the King.
Yep.
The King has returned, and we're gonna win.
He's reclaimed his throne.
No, I just thought it's funny how who's had like recent roster changes, like Navi, Empire, VP, us have had like just in specific, VP and us and NTH had one roster change, and then suddenly we're winning, like we're doing well even though you have a roster change. I think it just speaks to, like, if you have 5 good players together who work well together, one roster change isn't the end of the world. And I really want to point out that when people see a roster change, like, oh, the Dota scene's so, like,
Yeah.
unstable or whatever, then it's not the end of the world, just one small roster change. Especially since, like, it's not the end of the world for Tides, and Snake King's...
And you guys have played with Snake
us
King
before.
for a long time, so
Yeah.
I mean, you've had a total of 6 members on your roster for a long time here.
Yeah.
Unless you're counting
And
Solus
he's my
as ringing.
son, so
And he's that old guy's
Yeah,
son.
there you go.
But like for VP, I think like last time on Mad, we all predicted that Fnatic would win the defense. But
I
there's,
didn't. I
like their
predicted
roster.
VP.
Okay.
Thank
But their roster change like affected them way less than I thought it would.
All right.
Smooth, BuLba. Smooth.
Thank you.
Let's keep chugging away at news items here.
Wait. I have a question.
Go, BuLba, go.
So since this roster change happened, and I did bet rares on Dignitas, can I get the money you guys made from RDL? Can I get a little fraction of that to pay for my rares that I lost?
When did
No.
you lose rares? Oh, okay. No.
Can you please buy me what's this I've been looking for? Sick ass set.
oh,
the
I
new-
don't even buy on player sets.
Yeah, our
What?
manager's actually
What a
useless.
terrible manager.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Well,
the
but
Ricky
you
set
can
looks
use your
interesting.
winnings to buy your own sets.
No, I want, because it's no fair, dude. You
Hey,
guys,
BuLba, don't you have your own manager that's supposed to like buy this kind of stuff for you? You're supposed to be Team Liquid, man.
well, he's not gonna buy me the sets. I mean, he's not gonna buy me like rares. Like I actually lost.
It's
I lost the time.
players.
I lost the time.
Why are you asking me?
Whatever. I lost the time breaker. That's all I can say. I was disappointed.
Yeah, but you weren't going to use that anyways.
What? I mean, it's still the item. Like you can sell that for 60 keys.
So it's not about pimping out your heroes. It's about selling it on the market.
Yeah, dude. I'm waiting for some.
Manager,
Real
buy me
value.
items so I can sell them.
What were you gonna gain if you won Timebreaker? Like when you're betting your Timebreaker?
Just for more rares. I don't know. It's on that Dota Lounge thing. You just bet your item and you get
So
stuff
you
if you
bet
win.
your time.
So you bet a 60 key item for random rares?
Dude, I didn't know how much that was worth before. I just randomly bet that shit.
Oh,
It's unfortunate.
Oh, Sam.
I lost.
rats.
I lost the TI2 courier too. That's depressing.
Are you serious?
I seriously, I lost one of those. That is the most depressing shit. I thought that was just a joke, you know. I didn't know like these couriers
Yeah.
are worth money. That one's worth
Isn't that like
$200.
200
I have a lockjaw.
I was so depressed, dude. It was a Smeevil, dude.
Oh man, dude, those things can pay for like a whole TI2 trip.
Yeah.
Sam!
You gotta hang on to your items.
Dude, I
Make 'em-
even remember.
Now I know why. Now I know why you don't draft BuLba. You suck at decisions.
Dude, I didn't know. I didn't know it was worth that much. I remember it was actually I was in the lounge and then I think Yule came up to me and gave me a card and it was a Smeevil. I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And then I entered the little code in and I got it. And then I gave it away and there goes my Smeevil. So it was depressing.
We should play like
I'm
poker
sad
and stuff.
for you.
TI3.
Jesus.
Let's all play poker, BuLba.
That would be really cool. Playing
That'd be
poker
really
and
fun.
wagering Dota 2 items.
Dude, I didn't know it was worth that much, so it's whatever.
Oh. Now you know. FXOpen picked up a Dota 2 team, and we're hearing stuff out of GOMTV, which shows that Korea has some interest in Dota 2. Anyone want to talk at all about this? Toby, Korea.
Okay. Why me? Why me?
It looked like you wanted to talk.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple of good friends over in Korea. A lot of you guys might even know Kaldor, who cast with me at the World Cyber Games, the grand final. He also used to work for the company I work for, FXOpen Gaming, and he's now a full-time GSL caster. So he basically keeps me in the loop of everything that's happening. So FXO picked up a team. Yay. But yeah, as far as what I've been told and what we should expect out from Korea, don't expect anything international unless it's going to be a bit of a show match. That would be it. I think Korea is going to remain internal to start with before they start looking at the rest of the world, and that probably even includes live streaming.
I think we'll.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, we'll kind of just have to wait and see.
What I want to know is, what do you, Sam and Aoi, what do you guys think of the team that they picked up? It's what, March and
March is the only one I've heard of.
Devil Elf, Sagan, Bangfish, and Hell?
I got no idea. I've never heard of any of those.
I mean, you've at least heard of March.
I obs them actually scrim, I think, Winter's team, and they got totally shit stomped. That was all I know about them. And then March is like, I asked him how's the team going, and then he's like, "Oh, we're still looking for a fifth, but it ain't going so well." That's what he said.
I'm actually trying to find out if it is the same team as what I was originally told they're going to be picking up. Because originally FXO just looked at the Mineski Korea team, the team which attended World Cyber Games. That was the first team I was told, and yeah, it's not the same team. Originally, they're looking at that team, and I basically said, yeah, that's a team that got beaten by basically everybody out there at the event. Devil Mice beat them. They're in the same group as IG. They basically went horribly throughout the entire event and were dropped by Mineski very shortly after that. Yeah. They're trying to start somewhere before everybody else starts there.
Yeah. Korea has historically been, very StarCraft 2, not Dota.
Well, everyone said it was never going to change from StarCraft, and then LoL came on, and now LoL is just as big as StarCraft there. Because StarCraft 2 and StarCraft Brood War has divided the scene.
They know how to do esports. Could be good for Dota.
Yeah. As long as the country remains intact, which we all hope it does.
Did anyone happen to see the Zhao 8 dating show clip?
I saw a little bit.
It was good, man. It was good.
Zhao 8 appeared on a Chinese dating show or whatever. I think his segment of it was 20 or 30 minutes or something. I only saw a couple minutes. It's kind of goofy, pretty standard reality dating show or whatever with the Chinese spin on it. They seem to focus quite a bit on the fact that he was a professional esports player, which is kind of cool. How did it end? Someone here knows how it ended. I don't remember who.
Heartbreak?
Heartbreak ending?
and you know, maybe a booty call later.
But he got rejected on national TV, which
Yeah.
made it
Right?
international.
It was such a weird reaction. She basically said to him, if you've watched the subtitle version of it, she basically said, "I'm looking for somebody that just doesn't want me for my looks and because I'm a nice girl." She was like, "I want someone that will stay with me for the rest of my life." And then they like cut to him doing this whole like slightly depressed look, and it's like, "Oh, he rejected her." And then he turns to her and says, "Yeah, I want that too." And all of a sudden it was over. And I'm sitting there going, did something get chopped out here? Something's missing. And then she comes over and writes something. She wanted him to tattoo to sign her arm, and then she signed something back again. I'm wondering if she just wants out of the public light, and actually said, "This is my phone number. Give me a buzz after."
Chat's saying that they're already dating and that it was staged.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
it
true.
was
I wouldn't be
staged.
surprised. Well, staged to some extent. It's TV.
Yeah, I reckon she just wanted it out of the public view, because I know they've been seeing each other for a while outside of the show. Like I was telling you boys before we started, like I saw her at World Cyber Games Grand Final in the box with LGD. So yeah, I know she follows them a little bit, a lot.
All right.
Sam, would you ever want to be on an esports dating show?
Oh, I was gonna give that one to Kurt.
Do it for both of them. Have both of them answer.
Sam,
What?
first, would you be on an esports dating show?
With the angina. We know who I would be with.
Oh yeah, who's that?
Who would Aoi be?
Bear,
with?
some bear lessons.
Aoi already has a girlfriend,
Is that true, Aoi?
Yeah.
but Angina's probably in this chat.
Aoi, you just
So, Sam, yeah.
you just lost our entire female viewership by saying yes to that.
It's okay. There's
But-
no BuLba.
Is your girlfriend fine with the whole Megumi thing, or is it actually Megumi?
No.
It's Megumi.
No, she was there when Charlie was making me do it, and she was like, "Yeah, you should do that. It sounds like such a good idea. Publicity or something." I don't
So
think she
it's-
understands.
It's not Megumi. I think the NEO Dota forums have to go to work to find out who it is.
Sure. If people really want to go into my personal life, I mean, she doesn't play Dota, so.
Special report. I'm gonna fly over and visit you. Can get some investigations going. Bring a camera. Should be good. All right, but now that we've lost 2 viewers, that's what the chat said. Our female audience. Let's move on to our guest.
But how about
host.
Toby? Let's ask Toby. Would he be on the dating show?
Toby would clean up on a dating show.
I would probably do it for the lols. I'll probably do it for the lols, yeah.
You would sing.
Nah.
You would sing.
Yeah. Actually, I'll be more interested to see, BuLba, what would you do as your special talent to, like, please the women?
I can sing decently.
I've heard you singing, dude. Let's post it
You
a
wanna
clip
prove
of BuLba
that?
singing something. Like, we need to find that clip and put it on.
God,
It's
no.
really good.
That was just
somebody
like...
in chat find it. Somebody in chat find it.
Someone
Yeah.
please find
I
that.
haven't seen that one.
I also haven't seen that one.
No, it's
BuLba,
really
go
good.
on
Hey,
back.
Toby, next time you stream something with like 40,000 viewers or something, you should put that clip on.
Oh, yeah,
Like Teo's
definitely.
BuLba. It'll be
Definitely.
good.
Definitely. If
You might
I was
lose half
actually,
your viewers.
if I was actually covering, like, the G1 finals, then I would, yeah, definitely so put that on. During the grand final.
It's quite good.
Yeah.
I think someone found it.
Want to watch it right now, but want to keep the show going.
Let's.
All right, I'm gonna.
It's
I'm
40
gonna save
seconds
that.
long. Wait, it's 40 seconds long. You should just put it in show. Can you loop
God.
that in? No?
Did somebody
Producer
highlight
Mott,
that?
we're gonna see if producer Mott can get this one up for us. All right.
Yeah.
I believe in you,
Jesus.
Mott.
I was just
Yeah.
I didn't know it was
Next
being
show.
streamed, guys.
Yeah,
What do you mean? I'm.
you gotta be ready for this stuff.
Oh, Lord.
I want to hear this too, damn it. Mott, tell me your mixing destination round through Skype.
But the queen has been overthrown.
I'm guessing.
You show the lights that stop me, turn to stone. You shine it.
I just think it'd be hilarious because wasn't there rumors that 1437 was supposed to go on the same show? Or like we're trolling Highcat that he was going to go on the same show? And I was thinking, how does that actually work?
Noob.
You come on with a translator saying, "Yep, you can come with me on my first date."
Oh my god.
I'm listening to BuLba.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god.
God.
Oh my god. Well.
You have anything to say, Sam?
Wait, is it actually like?
It already
playing it on the
It's
stream.
played, yeah.
Oh god, I didn't know it was being streamed, guys. Forgive me.
So next time you sing to me, you remember this moment. You remember this.
Okay.
You're a man of many talents, BuLba.
He lied to me. He said he wasn't streaming.
I just listened to it again. That's pretty good. Okay, alright. You guys ready to move on? Now that
Yes.
Sam is thoroughly embarrassed.
You should sing us another song.
Live? A new rendition?
No, I can't. Toby can sing,
Yeah, Toby's a good singer.
but I think it's early for him to sing. It's pretty awkward singing at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Especially when my housemates are asleep. Yes. Best way to wake up in the morning when he has to leave for work in 4 hours.
Oh man. Alright, so I guess moving on to, since we have Toby here, and pretty prominent caster, so I guess one of the things we wanted to talk about is, I guess, the push and pull between being a good caster and being a good analyst.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you've gotten a lot of flack in the past for making mistakes, for making analytical mistakes, or calling things wrong, or all the things that people like to nitpick casters about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess from your perspective, how important is it for a caster, any caster, to have both the in-game knowledge and, you know, that broadcasting ability, that play calling, that excitement?
Actually, because obviously I've thought about this for a very, very long time, and I've kind of said that it's impossible for somebody to actually do the excitement, the play-by-play casting, as well as have the in-game knowledge. Because most people who have the in-game knowledge from the very, very start of the draft, they already kind of figure out what's going on, and they normally look at the game very, very passively. It's like TR1, they have those heart rate monitors on all the players, and you see like some people, like Fierce never even moved, it was flatlining the entire time. He may as well have been dead for the amount of readings that thing was getting. And then you'll hear him like co-commentate, and he'll just like slowly, analytically go through it all and analyze it that way. It's a very different personality that can just sit down and analyze the game of Dota 2 and then give you that information again. And give it to you at the level which most people demand, which is, the demanded level is knowledge above their own. Any person who calls out information about Dota 2, they want to hear knowledge above their own. Either that or they accept that the commentator can't give that knowledge, and they just enjoy the commentator for what he is, or she is. That's... And for me, I never, like, people say I got to improve my knowledge. It's like, yeah, I try and do so I don't fuck up. Which happens from time to time. You cast for 10 hours straight, sometimes solo, your brain goes a little bit loopy, and you'll say some weird shit. It happens. The people who follow me accept the fact of what I do, how often I do it, and sometimes things go astray, but we laugh it off because everybody is still learning in Dota, and the person who says he knows everything is normally the tool that says I go solo mid and pick something like Dwarven Sniper and say it's going to work. Like, and that's the way I look at it. Like, I know what I do, I know what I bring, I know what I don't bring. Most of the time I try and fill that emptiness with a co-commentator, but it's not always possible. I try and find the person whose knowledge is above that of most of my viewers. And most of those people are in teams, and they'll be playing, or they'll be competing, or they'll be training. So it can't always be filled. And I've been trying to fill that slot. Like, we've been able to hire a full-time co-commentator at Join Dota since June of last year. And we haven't been able to find a person who is adequate enough that can fill that role that we say, come and live in Germany, or people that we have thought we've found have gone off and done their own thing or involved in other organizations. I don't know if I answered your question. I think I kind of went out a little bit.
Well, my question was kind of.
I think you did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'll plus one that hard to find a good caster thing. Took me forever to find Draskell for Neo.
Do you think it's do you think, I guess, having that in-game knowledge and then at the same time that excitement level that people associate you with, do you think those are like it's mutually exclusive? Like for StarCraft 2, Day 9 does that well. He brings that excitement and he brings that knowledge in. I mean, so
Day 9 for me is a bit of a mix, because I love Day 9, I love watching Day 9, but I also can analyze him as a commentator and say that he actually moves away from a lot of the game knowledge unless he's sitting down and doing one of his dailies. Because if he does one of his dailies, it's just like sitting down with him at home and you talk about the game. But when you're commentating and you're doing a live event, to do both roles, you've basically got to contradict yourself, because you've got to have one who's reality and one who is basically the fantasy story. So one fantasy story guy is trying to say, this game, anything can happen, anybody can come back. And the other guy is going to be saying there, well, the only way they can come back is by doing this, this, this. And Day 9 tries to do both. And sometimes you can hear him where he slips over both of himself, like he has an argument with himself. And solo casters do that a lot. And you see him put with other people, and it's the same kind of thing. Like, I remember when he cast the StarCraft 2 World Finals, and he cast with Tasteless. And for me, it was like, hey, sweet, I've got like two of my favorite commentators casting together. But you can hear how the two of them don't gel properly, because like Sean couldn't push himself into the role of being the analyst, and you kind of already know, like, yeah.
So I guess short answer, yes.
Yeah. Short answer, yes. I see them as exclusive roles. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm a commentator. I waffle.
Well, it's cool. So I guess on that same line, favorite co-caster?
My favorite co-caster?
For you to do it with. If you could pick anybody right now.
Everyone's expecting one answer, by the way.
If I could pick anybody, I would actually find Artosis, teach him Dota 2. He learns Dota 2 himself from other people, and then I cast with him. If I could pick anybody. But for me as a co-commentator, who would be the best person is actually, well, it used to always be Cinderin. But then he's starting to drop off his knowledge a little bit. But Cinderin, for me, is a guy that kind of blends both roles, but he blends it a little bit nicer. And when he can combine with me, we get that nice entertainment blend. And that's what I enjoy a lot more. So casting with Sind is definitely, he's my favorite person to cast with me. If he's the best mix for me, it depends on your tastes. But if you're looking for an entertainment cast, Cinderin and I are the best mix in my mind.
What about Grand Grant? Would you ever cast with Grand Grant?
Would I ever cast with Grand Grant? Yes, I would, but I would probably put an R18 plus rating on the live stream before I started.
He's clean, dude. His jokes are clean.
He's an upstanding guy.
All right.
Was there something else we're going to?
Well, I need to give a quick shout out to Mott, because apparently I shout out Draskell and not Mott, who's also a great caster. It took me a while to find. There you go. Is that what you wanted? Good.
And Mott's the one that's actually loyal to you. Draskell ran off to the good studio, Spit-wad. You create him and the chicks leave the nest.
Draskell's loyal. You just wait.
Yeah, Clairvoyance is a good co-caster. Shout out to Clairvoyance.
Yeah, people have suggested that.
Good job. He did a really good job.
Toby, I enjoyed him with you, Toby. That was interesting.
Yeah,
You should focus on Clairvoyance more.
But BuLba basically played his own dating show. He set me and Clairvoyance up to cast together. Like, yeah. He does a good job. He does a good job.
I don't understand. That poor guy has been trying to go competitive for the year. He tried out Eternal Envy's team, and Eternal Envy supposedly kicked him off, and he's went off the co-casting. So.
He's played with us a couple of times as well. But I mean, that guy knows his shit. Like, people, when he started that break the metagame thing, people gave him a lot of shit because of how it was formatted, or his tone or whatever. But I mean, he probably posted one of the most insightful things on like fucking our Dota 2 that's ever been on that shitty subreddit. So shout out to
come on, man!
Oh.
It's an amazing subreddit. Quickly, change your tone before they kill you.
Oh, they're gonna get out their pitchforks.
Yeah, subreddit loves that. Actually, it's gotten a lot better. It got a lot better, that Dota 2 subreddit. I actually really enjoyed going there every single day and reading the stuff there. It got so much better. And then League of Legends invaded, and I felt like I didn't want to go there again.
They're gonna make a flame thread about us now.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
That's all right. Okay, let's move on. Yes? Yes. BuLba, sitting over there in your comfy chair. Bristleback was added to Dota 2. Still early. We don't know if he'll have any competitive relevance. Can look at a little bit of Dota 1 for examples. What do you think about Bristleback?
I think he's actually pretty strong. I like him in the tri lanes. He doesn't die much, and if you farm him up, he can be. You see how NTH has been doing those big Chen pushes with a strong strength hero. I think they did Doom. They've done Doom. They actually go gyro, and he goes treads, drums, and Sange and Yasha. And treads, drums, Sange, and Yasha. Gyro has like around 1600, 1700 HP. What else have they done? Doom. I think they did Kunkka one game, but yeah, it's actually good with these like cheese push early strats. And if you have like a offlane bear, like, this is a typical NTH lineup, I think, with the Bristleback. It's gonna be offlane Scylla bear, Rubik Chen in the jungle, load up Bristleback, and then S4 mid Juggernaut. Like, I imagine that as a lineup, and considering they play those lineups really well, I think it's actually pretty strong. It can just go up there when you're pushing, and you can just sit up there and turn your back around, and they cast all the spells on you, and you don't die, and then you heal back up to full HP with the Chen heal, stuff like that. So, I think the hero is strong in some certain strategies.
Do you agree with that, Aoi?
I haven't played Bristleback in Dota 2 yet, and I didn't play him for a lot of Dota 1, so I don't know. I've never really seen him competitive. I think he was ran in a Dota 1 tournament to counter Undying or something, because his quills kill all the zombies, but I really don't know how strong he is. How would you build him, Sam?
Yeah.
I think Vanguard, Vlad's, Shivas. I think that's pretty good. Or if
You
you
don't
need
want
to, if
to
you have like
HP
if
pool
they have
so that
pipe, if
you
they
don't
have
want
pipe,
to HP pool so you can proc your Bristleback more.
well, Vanguard. I mean, Vlad's is such a good item with just pushing. Like if you have a Scylla Bear or Chen on your team, and he's gonna be getting all the safe lane farm.
The
So
old
you go,
build,
like,
the old build was always just tank, like Hood, Vanguard.
Remember
Remember he
sometimes
used to go
Vanguard.
Radiance.
Yeah, oh yeah, people definitely rush Radiance back
And
when he
then
was
you could
the carry.
Farm him,
Yeah.
You could farm him on Radiant and stack 3 camps
Mhm.
and be the fastest jungler in the game. That was fun. That's all I remember about him.
But I think he's good with Shivas, especially. I don't know.
I've seen some talk about Armlet on him. What do you think about that?
It's decent,
I think it's better than Vanguard.
I guess. I don't know. You can go any item. Just get tank and then
Any item?
get some auras. You don't
Because
like when you play those
actually
push.
does a lot of right click. Like with Warpath and just how he's always in people's face, he's gonna do a lot of right click, and I don't think Vanguard really suits that well.
Well, the strat that I'm saying is basically just let him sit up there and just tank a bunch of shit, and he's gonna. You can go really whatever items as long as it helps your team, and you have some aura on him, like AC. I don't think AC's as good as on him, but Shiva's, and then what else? Just Vlad or something like that.
Toby said, "Fuck Bristleback. I'm out of here."
What?
Don't like Bristleback, Toby?
No. I don't like getting insanely hot in a room where I think my housemates have turned up the heating in the floor. So I opened up a window to let in the -2 degrees.
All right.
I like Bristleback. I remember Bristleback back in oh god, how that would have been 2007. 2007 was the last time I ever saw
I can
Bristleback
tell
play.
you, winter at the end of 2007, during the Fire Night Chicago LAN, Bristleback was #1 pick then.
Mm-hmm. He was number one pick in 2007 at WCG at the Asian Championships, and no one could kill him. He would tank an entire team and just not give a crap, and then turn around and kill them all just by beating him down. It was so ridiculous to see.
He's one of those heroes that's just, you can't not target him because the quills really start stacking up and people go builds like Radiance, and Warpath is pretty good. But if you try to kill him, you're going to die doing it.
He took a nerf on Bristleback since then, though. Like, it's 250 instead of 200, which is actually really big. So
It's also been changed a lot over time. There are different values for the side angles, and all of those numbers have been changed a lot.
but all the level 4 numbers are the same, I think. So I think he's worse now than then by quite a bit. Because it's not just like you're putting out 25% less quills from your Bristleback, it stacks up a lot less and all your quills are less effective. So I don't know how good that will be.
Does anyone know how he's been doing in matchmaking or anything so far?
The only thing I saw was the 6
yeah.
refresher orbs.
I didn't see that.
I saw that on Reddit.
Oh, look at that. Got a Redditor over here.
Oh man.
Reddit was pretty entertaining today.
By the way, there's already a thread about.
I know, I saw.
Alright.
About
Shout
what?
out to that thread.
There's a thread called "This is a shitty subreddit." Said
Cool.
by Dignitas.
Oh,
Monolith.
God.
I'm upvoting. I'm upvoting. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. We'll see what happens with Bristleback. Medusa was picked by Orange in GEST. Medusa's a hero that we haven't seen very much yet. Did anyone watch that game? BuLba, did you watch that game?
No. I've only been watching G League, the qualifiers. I haven't been watching other Asian Dota.
What do you think about Medusa?
What lineup was she with? Like,
What?
What was
Just
the
pick
lineup?
the counter PL. I don't know.
AUI's
Really?
gonna laugh at you.
He's gonna laugh at
No,
that.
he is. He is. The only reason I brought it up is because I ran to Medusa once and he flamed the fuck out of me for not repicking it. And then the moment I saw Medusa picked, I fucking clicked on that link just to shove it in his face. But to be honest,
if a hero's picked once in the group stages of a tournament, they're obviously top tier heroes that should be used every single.
don't use logic in this, all right?
That didn't sound like logic. Sound like
I'm not-
sarcasm to me. She sounds like a terrible PL counter, by the way. Where's your
Oh,
mana shield
it's-
gonna go?
Doesn't do anything
the
for his
game
PL.
No, I mean the game I watched. It honestly, like, it was okay. It wasn't mostly Medusa. It was just like the other team,
It's like a
the
skill
other
difference
4
thing.
players on the team winning. Yeah, and some skill difference. I don't know. It was hard to really say that Medusa countered PL in that.
Because she doesn't.
Probably not.
Okay. Any more Medusa thoughts? Will we see her again anytime
Zero
soon?
Worse
She
than
gets
Spirit
changed.
Breaker.
Worse than Spirit Breaker.
Hey, Spirit Breaker, fear made competitive, man. Don't go knocking Spirit Breaker.
I love Spirit Breaker actually. Fault Sam?
Spirit Breaker caused Dignitas and Liquid to become enemies. That's all I can say.
Is that why you still call me every night?
All I can say is, bro, you guys
Is this back on your scrim?
you guys picked a Spirit Breaker and we left.
Anyways,
We've talked about that one before. If anyone wants to know what that's about, you can find that 2 episodes ago, I believe. But that's a great segue into our final segment here. The show has changed a lot this week. We've taken a lot of suggestions into consideration, a lot from our Team Liquid thread. So thank you to everyone on Team Liquid who gave us some pointers. Our last segment here, we're calling Shots Fired.
shout out to the guy on Team Liquid who came up with that.
Yeah, I did not look at his name. Otherwise, I would shout him out right now. But people can go look.
I'll go look
You can
right
look
now
it up.
because
Alright.
I stole that name from you, nameless guy, right now.
Yeah. We'll have a special overlay for this one next time. It'll say Shots Fired up in the top left. And we'll save all of our flaming for this part like we did this episode, but not really. So, Monolith, do you wanna start here? You wanna fire the first
No,
round?
I don't want to fire the first round. I
Oh
really
man,
don't. I'm gonna
we
be a
didn't
bitch right
consider
now.
this. Who's gonna fire the first round? BuLba,
Go
are you
Sam.
ready?
Oh, Lord, I didn't prepare much for this.
I'll fire the first round. Anti shout out to Grant, who last week restreamed our show and gave commentary on our commentary, making a lot of fun about us. So, Grant, shots fired or something. Howie, you ready?
I don't even have one.
Jeez.
Christ, you have
Toby,
nothing
you got
to
anything? You gonna call anyone
I-
out?
I may as well actually fire a shot at NEO Dota themselves.
Uh-oh.
For those wonderful videos they did during the international one, where everybody should go and listen to a real commentator. I remember that. That was some really good videos, guys. That was some really good videos.
So I showed up to TI2, saw you on like, I don't know, whatever, day before it started or something. We were at Benaroya. Walked up to you to introduce myself, and you're like, "Yeah, I actually recognize you from some of those TI1 commercials." And I completely forgot about those. Not joking, because that was, I don't know, that was a year ago, and I didn't mean anything by it. But people are linking those in chat right now.
I have one.
Okay, go Kurt.
So shout out to Snaking for thinking to join the tournament in our team Skype chat and asking Charlie, how come we have time for this? And am I going to be okay for this? And when do I have to wake up for this? And when Charlie asked him, are you serious? He responded with like, yeah, are we playing in that? Are you sure you have time? So shout out to Snaking.
Alright.
Alright.
Monolith.
So, alright, I got one. So, this just in. Bumblebee. This is from Bumblebee, Sam.
Wait, is it for?
Oh, you're liking. Wait.
this
I
is-
want to hear this. You have to wait for the light to subside.
Yeah.
So, on behalf of Bumblebee,
You're
Sam,
lagging.
why
Hold
aren't
on.
you...
Lagging.
Whoa.
Can't
okay,
hear
I
you.
just
am I
understand
lagging?
lagging.
Skype
Tell me when I'm good.
needs a minute. Skype is gonna work it out.
Am I okay now?
God does not want
Yeah.
me to say this.
Skype.
Everyone's lagging for me.
Yeah. Alright, I think
Yeah,
it's coming
everyone's-
back.
Yeah, you
Okay,
Yeah,
we're
go.
good?
Go.
Okay. Sam, from your manager, why aren't you wearing your Razer headset? Did you see that Reddit
That's in his
thread?
house.
Why? Didn't you see that Reddit thread? Why can't pro players plug their sponsors more? Did you see EG? Did you see EG on that panel, man? They repped Monitor
They did
and
it
King.
beautifully.
Yeah, they did
that
a-
was
they did
perfect.
a really good job.
What was
Lagging
the
buddy.
line from
American.
the line from Malk was actually perfect. It was there's a rebroadcast coming up. I got so surprised I spilled Monster Energy drink over my Razer keyboard. It was perfect. It also pissed off Rocket, so thank you very much, Charles.
Oh, actually, can I actually just have one last topic I want to ask Toby?
Yeah, go.
I've heard a few players talk about how they don't like rebroadcasts of tournaments. How do you feel about that?
I actually had a message from Eternal Envy saying, "Yo, man, why are you still in my viewers?" There was a thread about
Wow,
this on.
that's a
Yeah. And we were going to report again because I can't understand of you guys anymore.
Really
I
like-
pieced that together. Are we all lagging?
Yeah.
I think it's the co-host.
The host? Like it's my fault?
Yeah, if it is,
Yeah.
if the co-host is lagging, then everyone likes. If it's one person lagging, then just they will like. So
Apparently we're all robots right now.
Just
Well,
remember,
that's
it's all
stupid.
mouth.
Whole point of this was to get away from my internet.
The hilarious thing is, Spit-wad sounds perfect for me. Everyone else sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, it's the same for me.
Yeah, I don't think I'm lagging, but apparently I am.
was the rest of us, or
See, this happened before too. Like Skype is fine for an hour, and then in an hour it's just like, nope, we're done here.
Sometimes you just got to restart the call for Skype will wake up to what's going on.
Sounds like it's better now. It's slowly fixing itself.
To answer your question, Owie, I actually don't like rebroadcasts themselves. Originally, I was never going to do it because I didn't see the point in it to broadcast out something that was already broadcast. And then people kept asking for it, so people kept asking for it, so I did it. And more and more people keep tuning in, so people want it, so I keep doing it. And I know there was also the other discussion saying, well, they're stealing viewers. And I know I quoted Eric Johnson in a forum post with this one. And when we were talking about the whole exclusive casters, should people be able to cast off Dota TV and all this kind of jazz. And he basically said it's the worst way to build your business model if all you want to do is build something that is exclusive. Build something that people actually want to use, want to watch, want to do, and forward your business model that way. So for players who stream out, it can't just be, oh, you're taking away from my streaming pool. It's get out there, find a new streaming pool. I think when I first started casting Dota, I just stuck with just the Dota community. No, I appeared on Heroes New Earth shows, I did some other things, I brought in some more people from Call of Duty, you have new in different areas, you find different ways to promote yourselves. And players, if they want to go further, it is the organizations that either have the popularity behind them or push the streamers further, or it's got to be the streamers themselves if they don't have the organization. Like, Na'Vi gets a huge amount of viewers on their live streams, and not just because, like, Dendy's there, and everyone likes watching Dendy because Dendy's got a personality behind him, but, like, you throw a Na'Vi tag on somebody, and all of a sudden they go through thousands and thousands of viewers. It's just a brand, and people have got to develop their brand. That's why I always hate it when players playing games, and they don't use their real names. They use some Joe Blow name, and it's like, you're hurting your own brand by doing so. How are people supposed to like you and follow you if you don't play under the tag of Owie 2009? Like, it's not. You're hurting yourself. I don't understand it. And then you can complain saying people don't watch my live stream. Yeah. Make something that's worth watching, and people will watch it. It's that simple.
Did you say Owie 2009? It sounded like that. Owie got an upgrade.
Well, I had one more question about that.
I'd bump him up a notch.
Thank you. Have you noticed any decline in your VOD viewership in correspondence to how your live stream is growing? Because the live stream numbers are growing, your VOD viewership should be growing at a sort of comparable rate, right? I'm just curious about that. Yep. So,
as far as the viewership goes, ever since I moved to Twitch, the stream viewership is completely is decimated anything we ever achieved on Own3D TV. Like, completely decimated. In the first month that I was fully on Twitch, we actually increased in numbers by, I think it was about 250%, was how much it changed.
Shit.
Yeah.
Everyone's numbers went up, though. Just combining sites.
The whole scenes went up. And you'll notice it too, like, over this week. Like, I watched the numbers pretty closely. Over this week, everything actually dropped. Everything dropped. Like, sometimes you'll get like a half decent game, and all of a sudden you'll have like 25,000, 30,000 viewers, and then you'll have almost exactly the same game for a same level in a tournament come up in next week, and you'll have like 15,000 to 20,000 viewers. It changes from week to week depending on what's going on. Unless someone's saying NDA in the chat, I can talk about my own stats. Twits. Love ya. Yeah, but the stats are really grown, and like, we're getting more and more subscribers on YouTube as well. Robot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fucked.
Yeah, I think you're fucked. I think we're all fucked.
You guys are.
Oh, really? Because I can hear you fine.
Am I okay?
Yeah, this one's not my fault. This one's on Toby.
As long as Spit-wad's fine, then everything's fine.
We can hear you. We can hear you right now. You can go on.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, we actually signed up with a new partner for YouTube, and they're helping us with some like promotion for it and tagging up correctly and doing things like that. And like, now if you search for Dota 2 on YouTube, you might actually find some of my VODs where, as opposed to like a month ago, you probably found Jack All. So more and more people are finding the YouTube channel. The fact we're not embedding Own3D TV VODs on Join Dota anymore, and we're doing YouTube VODs, also helps
so much better.
Rate. Yeah, well, because Own3D TV VOD system was completely broken. Which we all knew.
Shout out to sponsoring the Defense 3 on TV. Well, I guess they're done now anyways, but
Yeah. The hilarious thing is people kept asking us like why we kept Own3D TV in the tag, and it was not just because like they spent the money on the sponsorship, because like they were gone, so who cared? But it was also because Own3D TV from the very, very start did support Join Dota greatly. Like all the tournaments we run were basically paid for by Own3D TV. The first defense was fully done by Own3D TV, and all they wanted to do was just give us the money so we can do something. And they were the first ones to really make the jump. Like Dota 2 back a year and a half ago, like the international had just happened. The first couple of games were streamed out, and people were like, "Well, do we jump on this bandwagon?" And most people were saying no. Most people were saying no. Like, why would you invest money into a scene when obviously League of Legends was getting so much bigger than Dota 2, and Dota 2 had only just started off, only just revealed itself. Why would I put money in? Am I going to get my return of investment? Probably not. And Own3D TV were the guys that took the leap with us. So we were very, very thankful to them for that. Even if their system broke down over the last couple of months of their life, we're still very thankful to them.
Well, all right. I mean, that all makes perfect sense to me. I was not surprised for you guys to keep showing their logo.
Yeah. But it was the last time. It was the last time Own3D TV logo will ever be shown anyway.
End of an era.
Yep. Bring on the new sponsor for the Defense 4.
All right, let's finish this up with some StarLadder predictions. StarLadder finished with No Tidehunter in first place at 14-1, Fnatic EU 13-2, VP 12-3, and Empire 11-4. Let's start with you, BuLba. What's going to happen at this final LAN?
It's interesting. I don't think Fnatic's top of their game right now. They don't have like Fly has not been playing with them much, and they haven't been looking as strong as they were I think a month ago. And what else? Empire, kind of the same thing. They did well at that one LAN in Russia, but they didn't play that many games in that, and there wasn't a big sample size. And I don't think they are as strong as they used to be. And then obviously there's no Navi, and then VP, and I think it's going to come down to VP and NTH. I think it's going to be one of those two. And this might be a bit biased, but NTH is like our kryptonite right now. Like we'll beat every team, and then NTH has just been crushing. And I think if they play well, I think NTH is going to win. They have the best strategies right now, and I don't think most teams know what to do versus them. And S4 is a beast.
All right, Aoi?
I think everyone's underestimating Empire because in two separate occasions of the show, everyone's like, Empire's not the same as they used to be. I think Empire's actually really strong right now. So I actually don't know who will win for that. Like, NTH has been on a really big streak, and really, as BuLba said, they have a very, very special way of playing. Like, NTH is pretty like unique in their style. So if their style gets figured out, then they're not going to win that. Even like going just off pure play mechanics and stuff like that, I feel. But if they keep their strats, I think they're going to win that.
Okay, Monolith.
Oh, and Aki's a beast, not S4. Thank you. Although S4 is good. I think Aki carries NTH.
No, S4 carries NTH.
I'm going to have to go with NTH. I mean, I pretty much agree with everything BuLba said on that. I mean, lately, No Tidehunter has been playing really good. Like, S4 and Aki have been carrying that team. Like, Aki's, like, up until a couple months ago, he was so underrated because, I mean, he played the 4, and the 4 never gets, you know, that much credit. But he did so much for that team, and then S4, like, look what he did to Snaking. After he got first blooded, Snaking just, out of pure intimidation factor, killed himself on that puck dream flow. So I'm gonna have to give it to NTH.
Okay.
Didn't Snaking just say that and he didn't know it was gone?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
when you walked
it was
in Darkseer wall and killed yourself.
Toby, predictions?
I agree with Alex that people are very much underestimating Team Empire. Team Empire won Tech Labs for a very, very good reason. They're insanely sold online. Those guys know each other so well. No Tide for me. Normally, I give them the edge in online competition, but I think in the LAN and at Cyber Arena, I've actually got a funny feeling that they're going to be knocked out in the lower bracket and not even make it to the grand final. And the reason I say that is because their strats, they're actually got a pretty much a core behind it that I think most of the CIS teams are starting to work out. And when it comes to a LAN event, most of the strats go out the window anyway, because there's always going to be something funky, something different brought to it. And yeah, I would give Empire big shots to be in the grand final, but I've actually I want Fnatic EU to be there because I think they'll put up a really good show. I don't think they have the strength right now unless they prove us wrong in the early stages of the competition. But I'm going to say Virtus Pro will actually take it all because of all the teams of late, even with their downsides they had in their recent matches, I think they're the team which is playing the highest level of skilled Dota at the moment. Out of all the teams across Europe, everyone across Europe. So if they knuckle down, they know their strat they want to do when they come into this one. They've got 3 opponents so they can focus their strats properly. I reckon they'll take the entire thing and probably go straight through the upper bracket overall final and then take the whole thing.
Okay. I'm going to take Fnatic. I think Fnatic is such a strong team when they're picking well. And as you said, they get to go into this knowing exactly what 3 teams they need to prepare for. And I think they're going to use that advantage. I completely...
They're not going to be there.
No, dude, Fnatic's not gonna. I don't know. I think they're strong, but I don't know. I think I forgot what Toby said. I mean, I suddenly remember what Toby said. And he's like about the LAN, and I do think that matters a lot. VP and Empire played so much on the StarLadder Arena, and I think that's gonna make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So, basing on that, actually, I agree with Toby now, and I'd say VP. It was like purely. If it was not in the StarLadder Arena, I say it right now. I think of all the teams, I think NTH is the strongest, just for the strategies, but VP, especially Arzart's been playing out of his mind.
Yeah, he really has, man. He's actually who was it that was saying it? So I think it was NS that was actually talking about Arzart and the fact that now he's part of like the team. He's been able to shine a lot more than he did back when he was with Na'Vi, because he's being a lot more dynamic in the way he plays and the way he builds and the openings he's given to do what he does. Yeah, I think it was NS that was saying that. It could have been somebody else.
No, I think you're right. I think it was NS.
NS normally says something about something.
How about VP versus Fnatic? It's gonna be like actual like VP versus Fnatic in real life.
It's going to be interesting to see them on the main stage together. That's why I'm kind of hoping that they're going to be the grand final. Like, I know they're playing in the winners bracket semi together, and that's going to be pretty sweet, just to see the 2 rivals up against each other. But yeah, I think a lot of it was just smack talk on the interwebs. But when you're face to face, no one's going to like go, "Oh, you want to fight?" Not going to happen. I know the size of NS. I know the size of most of the Fnatic guys. Would probably be up for a fight.
Those Fnatic guys are fucking ripped, man. Did you see those pictures? Hani and Fly? These guys are ripped, man. I wouldn't want to fight them.
Yeah, they're not the guys you want to pick a fight with in person. And everyone smack talks on the internet. It always happens. But yeah, at LAN event, you don't smack talk unless you can actually back it up by beating the living crap out of them on the stage. And I'm not talking physically, I'm actually talking in the game. And then everyone drinks vodka afterwards and everyone's merry.
Oh yeah, I had my shots fired actually.
What?
Shots fired to tides of time. Shots fired at tides of time. If I could play solo mid or offlane, I'd be top 3 in the world. I hope that was a joke.
Alright, I completely skipped over one thing that I want to go back to, which is RDL, the Russian Dota League. Dignitas takes first place and $4,000 ahead of VP and No Tide Hunter. Aoi, did any teammate of yours play particularly well in the finals that you want to give a shout out to?
Snaking. Because for all the flack he gets online, Snaking is a really freaking good player.
Alright. Anything else you want to add about RDL? I admittedly did not pay much attention to that league, but it looks like it went pretty well for you guys.
For some reason, we win Russian tournaments because we won Pro Dota 2, and now we run RDL. So I guess Russian online tournaments are our specialty.
Nice. Put that on your resume. All right, let's wrap this up here. We'll go around the circle for some quick shout-outs. Toby, any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, to all the awesome guys that work over at Join Dota, to make the editorial section and ticket section, all that kind of crap happen. Those guys work tirelessly, so shout out to all those people, as well as all the people who watch my live stream and aren't bitches about it. Love you. Love you.
All right, Monolith.
Oh, and follow me on TobiWan Dota.
There you go.
Twitter, Facebook. VK. Yeah, VK. I'm done.
Monolith shout-outs?
Alright, well, shout out to the Return of the King and to our sponsors on our team Dignitas and Intel, Kingston, QPad, Twitch, Multiplay, Scan, Yama, Alienware, and MadCat, and Sound Blaster.
Owie?
Also Team Dignitas, and in the interest of not being repetitive, I think Charlie has mentioned all our sponsors, but an additional shout to Alienware, who just sent us a really nice laptops, and they'll be arriving very soon. I think Universe and Fogs have already gotten theirs.
But make sure you get a stick backpack for those guys, man. They're really heavy, but really nice.
They are really heavy. I got way twos and hours ahead of time, and like, so I'm carrying these big ass things with like fucking briefcases to the post office, and they look like bombs.
Yeah.
You know?
You should try taking them on planes, man. Try taking them on planes. Every single time I take one of those things on a plane, I basically got like the people on the scanner through, so just like, what are you carrying inside of this laptop? I'm like, it's nothing, it's just a laptop.
Yeah, I got a lot of strange looks at the post office.
BuLba, any shout-outs?
Yeah.
Shout out to my team, Team Liquid, and the sponsors, Razer, Barracuda, Twitch, and Tyson. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay, I want to give a shout-out to Team Liquid for this episode, for giving us some great feedback in our thread over there, and Kevin the Mighty for his long and detailed post in particular. You guys can follow us on Twitter at NEO Dota 2. If you have any topic suggestions, anything specific you want us to talk about next week, tweet them at us. Every one of the hosts will read whatever you tweet at us. You can find all of our VODs on YouTube/NEO Dota 2. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, as always. See you later.
You done?